care for God's creation. It teaches us that we as a human have the responsibility to respect and care for all life because it is a gift from God. This includes caring for the earth, plants, animals, and humans, as we too are part of His creation. O powerful God, you are present in the whole universe and the smallest of your creatures. You embrace with your tenderness all that exists. Pour out upon us the power of your love that we may protect life and beauty. Help us to rescue the abundant and forgotten of this earth, so precious in your eyes. Bring healing to our lives that we may protect the world and not prey on it, that we may serve beauty, not pollution and destruction. Touch the hearts of those who look only for gain at the expense of the poor and the earth. Teach us to discover the worth of each thing, to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. Amen.
Global warming is definitely the single greatest environmental challenge the planet Earth is facing at present. And do you know that e-waste is one of the key factors that contributes in global warming? Now, when I use the term e-waste, what do I mean by that? E-waste is basically the electronic waste generated after a product is unwanted or not working or is nearing the end of its useful life. Electronics, the daily requirements on which everyone is dependent on these days, be it computers, televisions, mobile phones, anything. We are all surrounded by electronics. Once they are no longer useful, what happens to them? We throw them, right? Due to this reason, each year the world sees a production of 20 to 25 million tons of e-waste. Now, let us talk about some of the adverse effects of e-waste.
E-waste disposal contributes to climate change due to the chemical release when it is burned, especially the materials like copper, aluminium and iron when burned accumulate in the air and hence cause many diseases also. Most of the time, this e-waste accumulates in land or water bodies, hence polluting these elements. Once this e-waste enters the body of various organisms, it harms the respiratory organs, the reproductive organ and the brain tendency.
Well, time to finish your homework. It's been an hour since you are playing. Yeah, Mom, nothing to play much. All my games are broken and I want a new one. Beta, didn't you just buy it last month? I've become too old and have been broken and the new edition is just awesome. I want it. What are we gonna do with this? Can't we just throw them or give them away?
What an e-waste! We all come to the phase where our dear games turn out useless. We end up discarding them without any proper e-waste management.
Come in. Good morning, Mrs. Sharma. Good morning, ma'am. How are the new keyboard? Pretty good. They suit well to our new computer systems. But what about the old keyboards? Very well indeed. As for the old keyboards, I have found a dealer. He will buy them at a good rate. Oh, well, pretty impressive.
What an e-waste! These so-called kabadwalas just use up the parts they require and throw away the rest even when they know it's not appropriate. What an e-waste! Naturally, one day every device gets worn and you have to throw them away. And guess what? An even larger pile of unwanted electronics.
Looking at this once beloved but ruined smartphone, we come to know about the basic tragedy of our phones. When one fine day comes and this phone is no longer useful and you cannot give it to someone else. And guess what? The dustbin becomes its best friend. Knowingly or unknowingly, in one way or the other, we are surrounded in a pile of e-waste that we never imagined it was us who created it in the first place. Let us take an example. If 1 out of 5 families generate one form of e-waste, let it be a battery, a phone or something else. Taking India's total population 138 crores, just imagine how much e-waste is generated every day. We have earlier talked about generation, but why can't we just talk about prevention than cure?
Prevention. Now that you have reached so far, you must be wondering what should be done. In my opinion, very first and the foremost thing is to gain knowledge, basic knowledge, whether these appliances are useful or not, shall I recycle it or discard it? If yes, then how, when and where? Questions, questions and questions. So let us tackle them out one by one. First of all, how does appliance appear in your home? It's right that you have bought it. So while buying, one should always take care that it has very good star rating. Now the question arises, what is the star rating? Star rating is basically the efficiency of an electrical appliance. The higher the number of stars, the more efficient it is.
Now that you have bought this appliance, what do you do with it? You organize it, you separate it, don't you? Every single appliance, either bought or made, has a particular use to it. You know that already. After all, such sort of an organization gives you a better point of view for do you even need this appliance or not. Then one fine day when you realize that this device is useless, before discarding it, you need to check whether it's useful at all. Even if it's a little bit useful, you should prefer selling it through a retailer. Such small donations actually save a lot of energy. Now speaking of energy, many devices have those batteries in them, from which a few alkaline, that is the normal ones we have, can be easily discarded. But when it comes to rechargeable batteries, they're actually really toxic. Special guidelines have been provided for it. Moving on, every state has a special unit designed for this e-waste recycling. Besides following these tough guidelines, you can always reduce your time spent on electronics. All of us are aware about the 5 R's, namely reduce, renew, replace, refuse and recycle. Then why not the same with e-waste? Reduce, you're reducing your time after these electronics. Reuse, you're donating your used gadgets. And if it's not in a condition to be used, then recycle comes to the rescue. Even then, out of these all, the best thing you can ever do is resist buying a new device unless you really need it. Now arises the question of how. Before you recycle any product, better seal the broken parts and put them in a separate container so that the chances of chemical leaks are nullified. Wear latex gloves and special kinds of masks while dealing with something broken. Coming to the last question of to whom? Well, it's pretty simple. Find a responsible recycler. Recyclers with the e-steward label on their websites are certified to meet the cleanest and most responsible standards for e-waste recycling.
So, let's make this care for creation special by paying some tribute to Mother Nature through destroying the evil of e-waste.